So the first scholarly article that I used was entitled Concussion Law Compliance, the Allocation, Time, Resource, and Money in a Rural Western State. So the purpose of this study was to focus on the state of Idaho and examine its law on youth sports concussion law, which was titled HB-632, on their high schools in terms of time, resource, and money spent on concussion education. So the method that they used was actually a mixed methods, both quantitative and qualitative, where they use the data that they collected from surveys that they handed out to analyze and interpret this data. But before they gave out the surveys, they needed approval from the IHSAA governing body, which governs all high schools in the state of Idaho. Once they had approval, they used a focus group to design their survey, which consisted of high school athletic directors, coaches, athletic trainers, and other sports medicine providers. The survey itself contained 36 questions that were related to HB-632. The questions themselves were Likert scaled, in that were used to gauge the perception of individual school compliance, and declarative statements were provided. The study assessed compliance of HB-632 in three different areas. First was athletic directors' self-reported views of school compliance. Two was the process the schools used in order to administer the required concussion education. And three, the methods the schools used for appropriate concussion management. The participants for this study were all athletic directors, where 154 were invited to participate, but only 101 responded. The study, so this then left that out of the 154, 93.07 responded to the survey and completed it. Now, as for the results, what the results showed was that 85.15% felt that their school was in compliance to HB-632, while 2.97 felt that they were not, and 11.88% were unsure. 79.21% identified as having the policy that addressed the concussion education and removal from play and return to play for athletes suspected of concussion. The survey also showed that 56.44% acknowledged that they were better informed in identifying a concussion since HB-632 passed. As for financial resource to comply with the law, only 19.8% had support from their school district, and out of that, 70.29% reported of spending $100 or less per school year to comply with concussion education for their coaches, parents, and athletes. And only 9.9% acknowledges spending more than $500 per year on concussion education. In reference to concussion management, 64.35% spent less than $100 per year, and 16.83% spent more than $500. With implementing concussion education, 95.05 required training of their coaches about concussion identification and risks. Of that, percentage, 87.13% required it for all their coaches, and 9.9% only required it for their head coaches. And 98.2 of this education occurred with the use of online concussion certification courses. So how this relates to my study is that this topic itself identifies that parents and student athletes might not be properly educated on concussions due to lack of financial support for some of these school districts, and not having the money to pay for this education. So when there's this lack of information, it can create confusion for both parties, both the school and parents and student athletes, where then you might not have student athletes reporting concussions because they think it's a headache or something minor instead of something major like a concussion itself. So concussion education and implementing of concussion guidelines are important, because without return to play guidelines, then you're going to put more harm on students' well-being and health. That's it.